Hey everyone, welcome back to today's Explainer. If you're here, I know you're looking for that deeper, structured meaning beneath the surface of things. Well, today we are literally immersing ourselves in a fascinating pair of journal entries called The Celestial Voice of Thunder. We're going to step right into the raw, completely unfiltered subconscious of someone grappling directly with the divine. So settle in, let the sheer atmosphere of these documented dreams wash over you, and then we'll unpack the incredible psychological and theological architecture behind them.
A thunder without rain? That one bewildered thought is our gateway today. And we're not just going to summarize this experience. No. We are going to recite it word for word exactly as it was written down so we can really feel the weight of this celestial encounter.
Let's jump into Section 1, The Storm Without Rain. This is from a journal entry dated October 16, 2001.
Here is what was written. I witnessed a tumultuous storm that clung to the clouds and refused to rain. An uproarious thunder exploded in the midst of my compound. Lightning felled a chunk of guava trees planted within. There was yet another blast. The terrifying sound sent a few more guava trees crashing down right there before my feet. A thunder without rain? I inwardly queried, and no sooner than this flicker of thought faded out than the bizarre scenario slides into a different face.
The fallen guava trees by my feet suddenly resurrected back to their roots. This miraculous transformation widened beyond the walls of my compound and way into what looked like infinity to my narrow gaze.
Then the amazing guava trees began bearing ripe, peculiar fruits, which like rain began pouring down from their branches above. I watched a river of fruits laying all around for grab, mangoes and oranges in abundance from the source of guava. This can only happen here in the dream world, I reminded myself. Then fetched a bucket and began to collect this rare gift of the heavens in complete alignment to the vibe of the dream. Neighbors that noticed also joined in on this great bounty. My nephew, Aaron, came in late. He replayed the entire clip from beginning to end. "What did this?" he asked, and I excitedly found myself saying to him, it was that spark of electrical discharge from the skies which usually cackles and pour down rain into this world, that power which puts in line those of us without the mandatory art rods for balance. Art rods are meant to neutralize the excessive scourge of thunder. You have not studied science, you would have appreciated what I am saying the more. I may not have studied science, but I love, appreciate, and deeply understand nature, he said. Mind you, I am the one right now watching you dream. What is happening here is beyond science and nature. And I awoke.
Now moving to Section 2, the Friday Vision. 4 years go by and the celestial voice returns. This is from September 7th, 2005.
It was the morning of Friday in the dream. I was in my wife's room. My relationship with her was sour. Our 1-year-old daughter Fatima was our only link. Fatima was awake early as usual. I looked at her innocent face. She recognized me and excitedly began making moves to grab my hand. I looked at her in deep contemplation and went into my bedroom where this bizarre episode unfolded.
I had a strong impression of God. As I stepped into my bedroom and locked the door, the comforting presence filled and spoke to me thus, "Muhammad, you are suffering now, but very soon you'll be at rest." There was silence. I didn't try to process what transpired. I just checked my watch to see what dream time it was and found it was past 1 p.m. on the dot. The dream maintained its Friday course. I watched people getting ready for Friday prayer. I confided what I witnessed to some close friends. One of them said, "It is not possible to see God, but it's possible to hear his voice, for he said in the Quran, 'Thunder is my voice.'" There was another silence. Afterwards, a voice from my mouth responded thus, "Thunder is a loud expression that comes through the heavens."
Then a copy of the Quran came into view, and I read the following verse. "And the thunder exalts Allah with praise, and the angels as well from fear. He sends thunderbolts and strike therewith whom he wills, and they dispute about Allah who is severe in assault." I awoke at exactly 1 p.m. real time.
Okay, let's step back for a second. We've just walked through this incredibly rich, totally surreal landscape, right? A storm that refuses to rain, trees bearing impossible, mismatched fruit, a divine voice echoing right through the quiet of a bedroom. So what does it actually mean when the heavens speak in this way? How are we supposed to decode the symbolism bridging these two really profound journal entries?
Let's get into Section 3, Unpacking the Symbolism. We're going to take that captivating imagery from 2001 and really start pulling it apart.
So the absolutely crucial point here is how this dream brilliantly illustrates divine bounty. I mean, think about it. In the dream, the destructive force of thunder, the lightning completely wiping out those guava trees, is immediately followed by an impossible resurrection. And it's not just our resurrection, it's a total evolution. Suddenly, those guava trees are producing mangoes and oranges, literally pouring down like the very rain the storm had withheld. It is such a perfect mapping of surreal dream logic onto a deep spiritual reality. The takeaway? Destruction is often just the loud, frightening precursor to infinite, miraculous transformation and abundance. It's wild.
Moving on to Section 4, the Divine Voice. Let's see how that symbolism builds straight into the theological reality explored in the 2005 dream.
Now notice how perfectly the unfiltered subconscious aligns with established religious text here. On one hand, we have the raw dream experience, a narrator in deep personal turmoil experiencing this comforting presence and then rationally trying to define thunder as just a loud expression. But contrasting that is the scriptural anchor provided by the friend and ultimately the book itself, the realization that thunder isn't just noise, it's a literal exaltation, it's the voice of the divine. The dream is actively navigating that tension between our everyday worldly logic and a much deeper cosmic truth.
And that brings us right back to our ultimate anchor, Quran 13:13. And the thunder exalts Allah with praise. The narrator's nephew, back in that first dream, really hit the nail on the head when he said, what is happening here is beyond science and nature. The loud, sometimes completely terrifying expressions of the heavens, those thunderbolts, are revealed to be so much more than just weather phenomena that we need to ground with art rods. They are an exaltation, a massive, awe-inspiring reminder of divine authority and presence.
Which leads us to Section 5, a promise of rest. We really have to look at the core reassurance delivered during that 2005 entry, especially since it happened during a time of explicit personal suffering and a strained relationship. This right here is our ultimate takeaway for today's explainer. The tumultuous storms in these entries, the ones without rain that crack the sky open and shake the earth, are actually profound psychological and religious experiences. The concept of thunder is completely redefined for us. It becomes a divine herald. God's voice literally cuts through the heavy domestic sorrow of that bedroom to say, Muhammad, you are suffering now, but very soon you'll be at rest. It's a beautiful paradox, really. The intense turbulence of the thunder is the exact mechanism that delivers the ultimate promise of peace.
And that leaves us with a pretty major question to carry forward. When the thunder crashes around you in your own life, when things seem impossibly loud, destructive, and completely devoid of the rain you think you need, how do you interpret those storms? Could it be that the turbulence you're going through right now is simply the loud expression of the heavens preparing to rain down unexpected fruit and offering you an ultimate promise of rest? Think about that for a while. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep looking for the meaning behind the storm.